Hi there. Hello, hello. Ah, this is my first live stream in like a long time, so I don't know how this is gonna go. So please be nice to me. But I'm excited. I have my mom here. So, mom, I see you. You're cute. I'm gonna give it just a minute or so for others to come on in. Nothing crazy, super chill. This will be played back on Patreon, no problem. Just depending on what we talk about will determine if it goes live on YouTube as well. Don't quite know. If you can, let me know if you can hear me. That would be great. I can't really tell if you can hear me or not, because it's been a hot minute for myself. Y'all are cute. Hmm. I had to switch where my camera goes because whenever I do a share screen, it ends up facing the wrong way, and so I want it to look Hi, Sarah. It ends up being the wrong what's it called? Yeah, it just looks weird. It looks like I'm looking away from what I'm watching, so I fixed it just for today. It'll be back to normal later. Okay, cool. Now, the real test is I'm gonna practice sharing my screen real quick, and I'm gonna play a video, and I'm just curious if you can actually hear it because I did test this and it did not work, so I'm a little bit insecure about that right now. So we'll give me just 1 second, and we're gonna do a little tester just for giggles. Let's do this. Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. So fun to see you guys over here. So fun. If you are joining the chat, if you can comment whether you are a Patreon member or if you just hang out on YouTube so we can make some friends, that would be super cool. While I try to get this sorted for myself, let me do this here. Fantastic. Okay. Y'all let me know if y'all heard that, and then I'm gonna share the screen, and then you tell me if you hear it here. All right. Let me see. Share. We're gonna share the win. No, we're gonna share the entire screen. Fantastic. I know that's a little weird. What just happened? My bad. Okay. See if you can hear it now. Isn't that girl so cute? I wish I was her. Oh man, stop sharing. Okay. You can't hear it. I can see it, but not hear it. See, that's my thing. I don't know what is happening with that. So, I'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. No sweat. All else fails, we'll do Q&A, we'll chat, it'll be great, and then I'll do like a separate recording roasting myself. We can still do that. No problem. Okay. Can y'all still hear me though? After I flip-flopped out of that, can y'all still hear me? I wonder what it is. Let me try one more thing. Yeah, you can still hear me. Fantastic. All right. So we see Kira, I joined Patreon for the Dreamcatcher reactions and decided to stay. Now, is that a pun because stay is the fandom for Stray Kids, or you just stayed because you're like, we like vibing out? I like the pun of that. And then Jess Kirit, is it, did I say that right? Was I close? You said you mostly hang out on YouTube. Is there a particular type of material that normally when I post, you're like, oh, I vibe with that? I'm curious about that. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start answering some questions while we all hang out. It feels a little awkward that I don't have music or anything fun, but I'm sorry. Maybe my next live stream I'll have it more together, but I don't do these too often. Okay. So, and also if you guys I just read your comment. That's cute. So what was I saying? I had some of you guys send in questions, and if you happen to have questions, you can just shoot them in the chat. I have 2 different ones on here, so I'll be able to find it in due time. But we're gonna start with the first question. These are from Patreon. First one's from Teresa. She said, "Did I know what K-pop was when I started reacting to Street Woman Fighter, or did I know what it was after I watched it?" So, in a nutshell, Yes, I was very familiar with K-pop, probably long before the majority of people in my life did. It was back in, I think, like 2009, 2010. My mom's in the chat, so she can verify this. But yeah, there was I discovered it, and it was during the time where Infinite was really popular, FX, 2NE1. It was that whole grouping, and there was a track by 2NE1 called Try to Follow Me, and that was my very first music video I ever watched, was that one, which was a freaking banger. Loved it. And and so I'm very familiar with K-pop, probably longer before most things. And I kind of took a step back from it in 2016, 2017, just after 2NE1's disbandment. There weren't really a ton of groups I was super into at that time either. So it was just a natural fade out. And then through, starting Jess Reacts, I got back into K-pop in this way. And I'm really, really happy about kind of where we've gone with it, with Street Woman Fighter, Street Man Fighter, the Street Dance China realm of things. We're looking at Street Woman Fighter Vietnam. We're also there's so much that I feel like I have been playing catch up on for the past year, which is why I've posted so much. But now I feel a little bit more at ease. Like we have a rhythm now. I have my people, we have our community, we have kind of like, here's what we do, here's how we do it, and we kind of just go with the flow with that. But I don't really plan on stopping what I'm doing. I do like what I'm doing, but maybe switching up the balance of what it looks like depending on the month. But I hope that I answered that question well, Teresa. But yeah, thank you for being on Patreon. Love it. Second question is from Jacob. Jacob is, I think he was one of my first in the Pocket tier people. So he was one of the ones who started requesting, and he's just been hanging out forever. So we like Jacob. He said, rank your top 5 dancers in the entire Street Woman Fighter franchise based both off of skill and my personal preference. Ooh. Oh, so okay. I've been thinking about this question. That's actually really, really hard because I don't know. I kind of feel I don't want to just do it for Street Woman Fighter. I want to kind of do it for Street Man Fighter too. So I guess I'll answer both. But okay, so for Street Woman Fighter, just off the top, I really love Sara. Sara, I think, stuck out to me in a fantastic way. Miss Flamingo, if you remember that whole little analysis. Sara for sure. Lip J for sure. So it's I have a feeling the whackers I'm gonna have a lot of those on my list. I would say I like Waxy as a mover and as a battler, but I like more of her stuff outside of the Street Woman Fighter. But it's kind of hard to not separate those because I was reacting to material from her during that time too. So I don't know. Basically, all the whackers I think are my favorites. I love watching them. I love what they do in choreography. I would say my favorite choreographers that have come from the Street Woman Fighter franchise, I really do like Bada's work. I liked her work before she was on the franchise, so I don't think that one really counts as much. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of, when it comes to the dancer side, I really like Reddy from One Mill's team. There's something about her and her movement quality. I can always find her when I see her in the demos and I see her as doing backup work. I can always find her. So she's always stuck out to me in a great way for some reason. I love it. But also, oh my gosh, who was it? Emma. So now she's on Bad Villain, but she stuck out in a fantastic way for me. So I guess my lineup for people: Sara, Lip J. Let's go ahead and throw Waxy in there too. Might as well. Let's do Reddy. I like Reddy. Emma. Oh, this is more than 5. And then we'll just add Bada in there too. Kirsten, I viewed her more as a dancer more than a choreographer before the start of the season, but it was really cool to see her grow into her own and kind of make her own name for herself, because she was always known as like Paris's right-hand girl. So it was really cool being able to see her, shape into she's Kirsten Dodgen, so I'm really happy and very proud of her and all the girls from Jam Republic, which I think is super awesome. So I hope that answers your question, Jacob. For Street Man Fighter, Trix. I really, really liked Trix's battles a lot. I think, who was it? There was somebody from Bank Two Brothers. I don't even remember his name. Maybe it was Golf. He really stuck out in a fantastic way in his battles. The battles were just killer. I loved them. I would say Door. I actually like Door from Prime King's post Street Man Fighter. I think we got to see him show off a little bit more in one of the exhibition battles between Mana Queen. Prime Kings versus Mana Queen. That was awesome. Who else? I would say Wu-Tae's grown on me too. I think I've learned more of his work than anything. But Oh-chan is probably GOAT for me. Oh-chan is the go-to in my personal opinion. But that's just me. Like anytime I see Oh-chan material, I'm like, we gotta watch it. So definitely a huge admirer of him, but I didn't really know him until Street Man Fighter. So that one's legit. So yeah, I think that answers Jacob's question. Next, actually in the chat, if you guys can tell me who your favorites in the Street franchise would be, I would love to know too. I don't want to be the only one talking. I want to hear from you too. I'll go into the next question, then I'll see what you guys have to say. Kit asked me, Kit is also in the pocket tier. Kit also is the one who is recommending all the NCT 127. So if you are a fan of NCT 127, you can say a big old thank you to Kit. The question is, what are your top 3, bottom 3 choreos that you've reacted to? They said, I haven't seen all your videos, so maybe you've mentioned it. And then, there's a second question. Okay. How did you get into dancing and choreography? And who are some of your favorite dancers from K-pop groups you've reacted to? And some of your favorites outside of K-pop. Oh, there's so many questions. Okay, let's answer the first one. Top 3, bottom 3 choreos that I've reacted to. How about I give a favorite of every... Oh, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Let me just do my favorite, and then if there is a least favorite, I'll talk about it. But it's really hard for me to think about a least favorite of things. I'll do it for every marathon I've done, which is quite a few, and then for every show that I've watched. So the first one, let's do Street Dance China. My favorite routine from Street Dance China would have to be Zico and Derek. That one with the instrument. Died when I saw that. I also, a close second would be Huang Xiao's set in the fire stage with the chairs and all the people and they're trapped. Oh my gosh, that just made your brain think and think. I love it. And for, let's see, the Street franchise, I really liked Prime King's Mega Crew set after they got eliminated. And then for the Street Woman Fighter side, I really liked Mana Queens. I think that one was my preference out of all the Mega Crews that I saw. Was that one. La Chicas was a close second. Least favorite routine, I can just tell you the top of my head from Street Dance China. It has to be the one from season 6. And the reason why it bothered me is because it scored higher than like a whacking trio did. And the whole schema of criteria for how they judged that whole challenge really just drove me up a wall. So got so frustrated with that. And so I think that routine was really messy, but they scored really well. It was just not a lot of fun in my neck of the woods when I was trying to look at it. And so that would be, so far, that's the one that I can think of. That was my least favorite to look at. But most of it comes from logistics and expectations, not from like the K-pop scene. I don't really have a least favorite in the K-pop side of things. All right. Well, real quick, let me look at the comments. So you guys said, just hear it for Street Woman Fighter. I think Bada Sara, Aiki, Monica, and Emma. Yeah, those are really great options. I like them all. Aiki was such a ham and a half in season 1. Love it. And she's still funny. And she's so consistently funny. Monica, really nice. I think I've seen her more in a mentor position or an adjudicator position than as an actual contestant. So I always forget about Monica sometimes. And Emma, of course. Yes, Emma. Love her. Sara, I've never seen Street Woman Fighter, but I've seen Aiki dance on YouTube Shorts. Yes, we could totally include her. Yeah, she how she is on Shorts is, I think, just like how she is on the Fighter franchise. So we love that, and she peekaboos throughout the Street Man Fighter side too. So we see her in a couple of different seasons. All right, for the marathon side, 17. My favorite choreography, I think, from 17. Ooh, choreography in isolation would probably have to be, it's, what is it? The closer one? I don't even know the name of it. I feel so bad. It's the closer 7. I'm typing it in on my other laptop so I can find it without ruining the live stream. Let me see. 17, Getting Closer. I think that one was the first time I was like, oh, they're like dancing. You know, like that was crazy. And Songgong, I think that one was the most sentimental for me. So like I have a sentimental routine. I have like just a favorite, just in isolation of choreo. But overall performance, and what I mean by that is the choreography, the music video, and just the overall vibes of the track. So if we do like the full package, favorite 17 track, whatever, would be Thanks. 고맙다. I like the dance. I like the track. I like the music video. They all are super cohesive and feel very intentional to the fan base. So that one will probably be like the top tier for me for that group. So that answers that question for 17. Next was XG. I did XG and ATEEZ in the same month. Bless it. Oh man, I did so much. Okay. So for XG, I think my favorite choreo from them, I think I really like Tippy Toes. I think that one sticks out to me in a really cool way. I like that one. So we're gonna, because I'm thinking about it. Tippy Toes was really, really cool. Honestly, I really like Sienna's choreo in general, and she's a whole vibe. So I think I like that one. Oh, it's Umbilical Cord. That one. Their dance concept that they did. I forgot what it's called. If y'all can help me, that would be incredible. Thank you for that. Oh, I'm so happy at how much Bada blew up from the show because I knew of her before and knew that she deserved a fame. Yes, I'm so thankful that more people got to know her, and I'm glad that she's able to have more opportunity to showcase her craft. I completely agree. She's been amazing. Love it. Oh, and then I see your question. I will be able to take a look at that as soon as I'm done with my marathon answer. Tippy Toes for XG. I really like their documentary. They really caught me off guard with how much I was going to enjoy it. When I think Tippy Toes stands out, I really just like the leans and some of the choices you just don't normally see, and they're very clean with it too. Oh no, Left Right. I actually really, really like that one, and I learned that one too. So I liked Left Right too, an overall track. That one was a vibe. For ATEEZ, ooh, my favorite ATEEZ track or choreography. I know you're waiting. Okay, Hisonu XG. Yes, okay. Yes, for XG, that one was I think my favorite because it was one of the first times before I got in the marathon on them, and they really that one was just so freaking dope. Love that. For ATEEZ, my favorite choreography. Oh, there's been so much that we've looked at together, haven't we? Oh man, I've seen so much. Why don't y'all tell me too if I talk about your favorite group or the group that like you've marathon with me on, what your favorite choreography for you is too, because it's fun to hear. For for ATEEZ. Let me go back up to them. I have 103 posts on Patreon, by the way, that is affiliated with ATEEZ. If you were curious. I think I really like Work. Work looks so good on them. And I think that the pocket is really dope for them to do. I think the one outside of what the new happenings are, I think Ariba. I think Ariba's my favorite in terms of seeing it because I watched it, the Coachella version, and I watched the concert version. And that was so sick. Like the waltz count on it. Ooh, bless America on that. So cool. So I'm gonna go with the Reba for ATEEZ. When it comes to just tracks in general, I really like Win. Win is cool for me because of it was, I think, one of the only tracks that I knew of ATEEZ before I even got into the Jess React side of things again. So the reel, yes, the reel's music video is really funny, and I think the dance is such a vibe. They're live when they paired it with Deja Vu was really cool too. So that was really nice. Let me see, Bouncy, yep. Bouncy. Now here's the thing. This could be a hot take with Bouncy. The type of track it is not my favorite style, but I really like how much it made people just want to pop off on it. Like it's so repetitive and so tiring, you know. And I'm a fan of the conga line for 4/8 counts. Like I have no qualms with that, and it just looks like a block party that you just want to be invited to. So I'm totally here for that. Absolutely. Okay, so that's my answer for ATEEZ. Who else have I done, everyone? I've done the BOYZ. I know I've skipped. I'm so sorry. The BOYZ, and then we're gonna do Dreamcatcher. Um, Let me see. The BOYZ, my favorite track from the BOYZ. Nectar. I think that's what it is because it's on my Spotify playlist. Nectar. I like the choreography. The choreography, I gotta be real. The choreography that threw me the most off guard was Passion Fruit. 1,000%. I was not expecting that at all when I got to it. I had a mental breakdown because I was, because they had all of their different perspectives and concepts and things, and we've seen so much of their stuff on Kingdom, Legendary War, Road to Kingdom, that whole thing. When I saw Passion Fruit, I was like, oh, we're going there, And I think and they did it so well. And that's what made it so wild to me. It was cool. I was like, oh, they're men. I get it. I see it. We're here. It is what it is. Wonderful. But I really like Nectar because that was a marathon ender too. And it was just so pleasant. It was really nice to see them just take like some of the turning choices with the push down on the heel was melting. It was gorgeous. I really, really liked that. And it was a fun visual too that they did in the music video. Maverick was, because I know Bada did that, was so deceptively tricky for my body to do. So as much as I like want to say Maverick was a really cool choreo, my body physically does not agree. Like it did not feel that great, but I think I look really cool doing it. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Maverick we'll call that one a really cool one too. Let me see. Halazia is really pretty for ATEEZ for sure. Okay, Dreamcatcher. What is my favorite dance from Dreamcatcher? Bolka, I think, is my personal favorite because I got to see like the live version of it, but I don't think I've seen an OT7 version of Bolka yet. So maybe I'll make an intention to look at that because I think Handong was still on hiatus. I think she was still back at home at that time. So Bolka really just made me feel such incredible feelings. And as much as I love Justice, and I've seen so much Justice material at this point, I think I still like Bolka more, which is wild to me. Same choreographer, we're still living. And shout out to the choreographer for commenting on one of the Justice videos. That was really cool. Very encouraging for me to know that I was looking at her work with a semi-decent accurate lens. So I'm very happy for that. I have her comment pinned if you're curious about what she said. That was really, really cool. Bolka and Vision. Yeah, those are amazing. Bolka winner always. Sara said, does Trinket have choreo? Oh, I don't know. I think it does. There's a chance that there's a couple of BOYZ choreos that I had not looked at yet. So I will be looking at a couple of them because they just had a comeback. So stay tuned for that. I know Tattoo is one of them. And then Drink It may have choreo too. So you may be onto something, Sara. I think I'm the one that's off for that. Let me see. So that's for Dreamcatcher and the BOYZ. Who else have I done? G-Idol. Okay. I freaking love their Lion set in the dance practice space. As cool as their Queendom set was, I loved how it just looked with the dancers in the dance practice because you're not used to seeing how full out dancers go like that. I personally wasn't, for sure, especially for girl group choreo. Like that was so wild to me, seeing them go for it in that way. And then seeing it on Queendom, of course, win all the things, ladies. But I think Lion was my personal favorite of their setup. I would say music video Revenge was a banger. Like that really was so cool. I was so captivated. I was so sucked in, it was all the vibes. We're totally here for that. Love it. Who else have we done? Stray Kids. Ooh, just a Stray Kids a couple months ago. What is my favorite track from Stray Kids. I would say the most sentimental track has to go Love Stay. I think that one. That really just I still resonate with that. And I'm not even considered a stay, you know? So that definitely sticks out in my head. It's on the same vein as Kolmata to me with 17. Choreography. I really, really like Backdoor, the choreo for that. Like that whole era of choreo that they did with Backdoor. I think Thunderous, if you want to work out, like a good lower body workout, just do a Thunderous 2 to 3 times a day and you're Gucci. But also I think there's still like 1 or 2 choreos I want to personally learn just on my own time, and it would be a Domino. I really want to learn Domino. I just think about it. I have the song added on my Spotify because it's just such a vibe. And then I know Chick Chick Boom is in my near future. I know that, and I just did. If you hadn't already seen on Patreon, I did a choreo with Jess, the jam already. So that was really, really fun. And it went a lot easier than I was expecting. So that was really cool. What else is there? Stray Kids has so much material. Like if you really go and look at just how much of their stuff I have, it's aggressive. An aggressive amount. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I would pick for Stray Kids. I really like Backdoor. I think Love Stays very sentimental. Chick Chick Boom is amazing. I say from their new album, I really like Runners because I did a whole album listen, and I think Mountains is up there with Top Line. It's like same tier for me. Really, really cool. I have my collections pulled up on Patreon right now on my other computer just so I can figure out. I'm right in the middle of an EXO marathon. So my favorites right now, I really liked Lotto. I think that was really cool. Oh yeah, easy choreo with Stray Kids. It is not easy, by the way. I have done it. It's what is it? It's you switch between like really syncopated wrist isos into this like rigid legato groove that travels to the back. Like I really, really liked it. And I think it took me the exact same amount of time to learn easy as it did to learn Backdoor, or maybe it was Thunderous. I don't quite know, but it was like it took to the minute. It was like 26 or 27 minutes exactly. It took me to learn one easy and one other routine, which I think was really cool. Runners is cool. It's in all English. Really surprised by that. I'm here for it. Also, I have no idea what they're going to be doing with Tableau. I personally, I've already said this. I think it would be so dope to have him on Mountains, just like Tiger JK was on Top Line. It just put a visual out to make me happy, but they're not there for me. They're there for everybody else. So we're just here vibing out, having a good time with that. I will say I've seen enough Astro to have a preference and to have a favorite. I think my favorite choreography is All Night, but my favorite vibe was Knock so far. I still have a couple to look at this month, but so far with Astro, choreography All Night, like that is really hard to come across a choreo like that. And then Knock, the imagery, I just like whenever you knock on doors, maybe with Backdoor, Stray Kids, I got a thing with doors. I like the imagery, the wordplay. I just think it's fun. Totally fun. Jam, I think I would love Jam from Stray Kids in the comments. If I didn't have to choreograph to it and didn't have to go in being like, okay, I have to make sure I justify this well. But I actually really like it a lot more now. Like it's growing on me, especially the dance break section. And Hyunjin said in the album intros that they are going to do choreo to it. So that's what really made me scared and intimidated is that, that's going to get compared. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing. Sarah, you said that they teased the Tableau collab so long ago. I'm hoping it's not one of the songs that ended up getting shelved. Fingers crossed it's coming soon. I hope so too. I would be surprised if they shelved it, especially if they did an Easter egg at when they did last year for Megaverse. So I would be surprised if that's the case. SHINEE. I hadn't done SHINEE yet. My favorite routine from SHINEE's discography. I would say SHINEE as a group would be, what is it? Good Evening, right? It's the first track after after everything. I think that one was really sentimental, really special. The choreography is just incredibly captivating. I would say from Taemin, Advice for sure. My favorite choreo. I still feel that way. I love it. Oh my gosh, melting thinking about it. It's honestly one of Casper's best choreographies he's ever done was Advice. And I still feel that way. I've seen so much Casper stuff. That is an incredible choreography from him. I also like Drip Drop from Taemin too, but that one doesn't get as much love as like Move or other things of that era did. But Drip Drop was pretty dope. With Key, Gasoline freaking popped off. Like that one was a banger. Love that. But his new one, Tongue Tie, there's this little mountain climber lotus step in house that's in it. I melted when I watched that. So I liked his tongue tied choreo, but I think Gasoline is up there too. That one was cool. From Onu, he has choreo, I think it's to O, but it's the dancers that are dancing with him. That was cool because it was a live take that I did of that, a live performance. And then, yeah, Criminal by Taemin is really, really cool. Ooh, okay. I see your question, Akira. Yeah, and then for what is it, Minho? I think his most recent one seemed pretty chill. He doesn't do like heavy go hard choreos like some of the other members do. So I don't really know if I have a favorite of Minho's specifically, but I would just like Key and Taemin are kind of like those two where they have a lot of like the focus is the choreography. And then I think Key has a choreo called I think it's like One of These Nights. I really like the song and I love what they did in choreo to it. That one was really dope. So I think I covered all the groups. Everybody have marathon so far, right? I think that's what I did, but we're gonna just double check right here. I think so. Wow. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of does. Oh, Kiss of Life. Favorite Kiss of Life track is probably the one with all the dancers in it. Is it Bad News? I like that one. That one is my favorite from theirs. In the dancers, the visuals, just the whole thing. We love it. Okay. Yes, I've covered all the marathons. Now, let me go back up. There's somebody who had a question, a random question. What's my favorite first, second, and Gen 2.5 choreography? Oh, Lord, that is a hard question. Okay, Gen 1, I don't think I have one. I don't think I've seen enough to really make a good guess. Gen 2, Clap Your Hands by 21. I got to say Loyal. And fun fact, if you were curious, Mari Madrid, who is Keone Madrid's wife, was the one who headed that up, I think. And she was called Mari Martin. They weren't even married yet. And Keone Madrid is the one, if you know, he is a heavy hitter in the BTS huge stint of choreography from like Judo, Fire. And he's married to Mari. And he's also doing Standing Next to You, Jungkook. So they were married, and Keone and Mari and Sean Evaristo represented Movement Lifestyle way back in the day and set a bunch of choreo for YG Entertainment, and that's one of them. So that one does stand the test of time. So Clap Your Hands by 21, I think is my favorite Gen 2 choreo. But if you also think about it too, I didn't look at Gen 2 choreo with the same eye as I look at it now, if that makes sense, because I was a fan. Like I was just a viewer, and I was very, very young in my dance career and dance exposure too. So I don't know if my answers would still be the same after I go and look through everything. But just at the top hand, I really, really like that choreo. I would say New ABO from FX is a vibe too. I really like that choreo. And the song is wonderful for an arm workout if you were curious. So I hope I answered that. I hope I answered your question as best as I could. I don't know if it's like, I don't know how good of an answer I can give for like the older generations, because I've only seen SHINEE and EXO at this point that are considered like the Gen 2, 2.5 going into Gen 3 realm of things marathon wise. Yeah, you said you kind of make you think about it. You made me think. Okay. And then I have another question. Kira, you said, what is your favorite performance from the Kingdom Queendom series so far? Oh, you guys are asking such tough questions. Okay, from Queendom. Let me think with my brain, because oh man. I gotta Queendom. I just came off of, so it's gonna take me a second for that. Oh, AOA. I think AOA's suit. No, their finals. That one, it was so clean. The choices were amazing. There's just one little thing I wish they did, but that one really caught me off guard, got me emotional. I really liked AOA set. I liked Lion by I-DLE, but I prefer the dance practice over the live performance, but I really love what they did. From Kingdom. Oh, okay. Road to Kingdom. Golden Child's TOP set with the feathers. That one is still an incredible set. I think you guys know exactly how I feel with the rankings for that. Uh, yeah. Yeah. So Golden Child's TOP set, they got eliminated off of that one. Spoiler alert. Um, what else from Road to Kingdom? I think I'm gonna be honest. I think I would have liked to Danger by Taemin more if I didn't catch so many things that that were plagiarized. I think that that was my kicker with that. I really, really liked the boys' final performance on Legendary War, like their last one, because they're the only group that can have every single member wearing a different outfit the way that they did. Not only that, cutting between the LEDs and things of that nature, and the whole dance break. And I think Q was in the middle, like in the center of it. I don't think I've seen choreo done that clean and that syncopated and that polyrhythmic on a competition show like Kingdom before. That was probably one of the most top tier execution based choreographies you could possibly do. So incredible, captivated for sure. Checkmate was dope too. Like it's iconic. Like I think there's really cool moments in a lot of routines, but I would say in general TOP by Golden Child, I think was one of my like for sure favorites that I was utterly just shocked at the results of. So all that to say, we blame Mnet for all of our problems. No one else. What was his? And the elimination with Road to Kingdom was questionable for sure. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question, Akira. I do get a little insecure about my preferences because I try not to make it super like personal preference because I feel that it'll stifle the analysis. But because the analysis are already done, I can probably talk more preference, but I just never thought about it. So anyway, thank you for asking. All right, next. Oh, there was another question that I had. It said, "How did I get into dancing and choreographing?" Ooh, ooh, how did I get into dancing? When I was in middle school, it was for a I think it was a we traveled from no, I was in elementary school. We traveled to the middle school. The middle school was presenting all of the different activities that we could do whenever we start going into middle school, because that's what we do here in my neck of the woods in America. And there was a dance team that came out and did a dance. And I looked and I saw it and I was like, literally in my head, it was a switch. It said, I want to do that. And so I would talk to my parents, I talk to my mom, and I'd be like, I want to take dance. And they surprised me for my birthday, dance clothes, and they enrolled me in a dance class. And then from there, I just kept dancing and I had never stopped. And when it comes to choreographing, I think since I started dancing, it was a natural thing. Like, I don't think I remember a specific time like the switch in my head that I wanted to dance. It wasn't that way with choreo. I would say that I really enjoyed trying to do other people's choreo, but also like making up my own moves to songs. And also I would remember way back whenever I was like in my height in K-pop days, I'm like, I would want to choreograph this dance in this way. And I would imagine that I was the one who choreographed it and not the choreographer. So prideful, bless her, back in the day. But so I think with choreography, I've kind of naturally wanted to do it, but I really, really wanted to do it when I was about to graduate high school. So like around that time period, so like 17, 18. And then as I continue on, I'm now 27, almost 10 years later from that point. I still very much like doing choreography, and I like being able to help people, like analyzing choreography, and I like letting choreography inspire me. And I feel like I learn more about people through their art because I've done it so long. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of how I would kind of answer that question of how did I start? And I'm still doing it. And my mom's in the chat, and I will say this. She was not for me wanting to do choreography and dance. She said that was not she was not supportive of it because she said it was not a good way of like making an income and earning an income. Do you know what I mean? And she's not wrong, because there wasn't nearly as many avenues as there are now. And then I think she said, yeah, no, for real. That's exactly what she said in her argument. How are you going to eat? And, I remember, I don't know, Mom, if this was for you, but it was, she saw my choreography, and I think that, I think that I think there was kind of a little switch that happened with her. Maybe she'll answer it in the chat and we can all look at it together with her. But yeah, in a nutshell, I kind of think that whenever she saw my choreography for the first time, I think the shift started happening at that point to where she's more supportive. And I will say, side note, she both her and my dad were 150% supportive of me doing YouTube, which was really cool for me. So I didn't really have any opposition from anybody in my life for me to start doing Just Reacts analysis. It was the balance part of like, how many analysis do I do? How long do I do it versus my like actual, like what I do in my day to day? That was the trickier thing. So that's how I would answer that question. And then the final part of that question was, who are some of your favorite dancers from the K-pop groups you've reacted to? That is a really hard question. Oh, well, Sarah, that's a great question. You asked, does my parents watch all my videos? Mom, you can answer that in the chat. I think the answer is yes. They watch a lot of them. They don't watch them all. Like none of like, because let me put it into perspective, Sarah. Before I started doing Just Reacts, what I'm doing is technically not different than how I was in my day-to-day. I just do it more often on camera. And I used to watch dance videos and I would used to critique them or give feedback in front of my parents or in front of my my roommate, my best friend. And so I think that's one reason why I think this is a really good supplement for me to not be so outspoken when I watch content in real life. This is actually a really great medium for me. So, but yeah, mom does watch most of them, but she does not have access to Patreon unless she wants it. But she doesn't have like all of the material that she could look at. But if she wanted to look at it, of course, I'll give her a link to it. But my favorite K-pop dancers from groups I've reacted to. I really like Q's movement quality. And I'm going to be honest, I think I really like Rocky's movement quality as well. I think it's the whole degree of going so full, but being so fluid. It's a type of movement quality I strive to wish to have, but I don't know if I'm physically capable of at this point in my life. So I highly admire it when I see it in others, but I also really appreciate versatility or people who are really hard workers. So I would say my top two, because I do have a top two most improved dancers I think that I've seen. San by ATEEZ is one of the most improved dancers. And I would say Hyunjin from Stray Kids. Those two really stick out to me as most improved for being able to showcase their niche in the way that they have. Taemin has always been good. I think he wins the most artistically like present person. And I haven't seen enough 10 material to really know if I would put him in that same category. But Taemin has done a fantastic job of like, I always think of him first as an example of an artist who does what they were implicitly trained to do, but really able to take ownership of their own craft. Like he wins the ownership award for sure. Key definitely on the artistic side, but Taemin and movement quality through and through. Love it. And with Hyunjin, I think I see a lot more of in the most improved side of being able to refine his movement quality to where you can see his artistic perspective, but it doesn't look so different than how he executes movement in general. Like he sticks out more and more in a great way when I see him do newer styles on Stray Kids discography, I think is what I mean by with Hyunjin. And I know that he was struggling with only being known for the face of the group. And I think part of me is like, no, I do see him as a dancer. I think that's one reason why too. So there's that as well. So that's how I would answer that question. I don't really look at favorite dancers when I look at groups. I try to look at the full group and then the choreography that's been displayed. I like seeing the choreographic growth too, like with Choi Young-jun, phenomenal growth from that man as well, which is super cool. And then outside of K-pop, I mean, a lot of my preferred choreographers do K-pop work, like Keone Madrid, Mari Madrid. They really, I like highly respect them immensely as humans and as choreographers and just their perspective. Philip Shahib, you saw a lot of his work on Street Dance China and his wife, Mackenzie Dustman. I love their movement quality as well. Just like that niche of community, I think I love a lot of those creatives that come from that scene. And a lot of them do a lot of work of creative direction in the K-pop C-pop, those types of show realms as well. So I'm really a huge fan and admirer of their work. And Keone Madrid's choreography, I think, is one of the first times I literally admitted defeat to myself of I'm really not as good as I think I am. It was the biggest pride check I think I've ever received, was not being able to do a Keone Madrid routine. And I'm not talking about his K-pop stuff. I'm talking about like his polyrhythms from ATEEZ hockey sticks, like those bad boys on his platform building block. Incredibly difficult to do. So I always say, if you want a challenge, just go pop over there and you'll feel a challenge there. So that actually answers all of Kit's questions. So Kit, I hope you watched this. I hope this was awesome. Next question is from Master Roshi. They said, what are your, nope, that's not what, sorry. Here we go. Longtime fan from New Zealand. Love it, love it. Just a quick question. Will I be attending the World Dance Crew Championships in New Zealand? Or are there any other dance competitions I would like to attend outside of the US? Obviously, D-League is the most for inspiring dancers and choreographers. I'm so glad he asked this question, because I think the best way to answer that is I would like to, but I do not know in what capacity. So if you guys don't know what this competition is it's basically, it's a newer version of Hip Hop International. There's a lot of people who were affiliated with Hip Hop International who are now transitioning over to World Dance Crew Championships, because it's a different format too. It's very similar in the rules and regulations, so you can take time if you want to go look at that. And what they do is they have qualifiers in continents, not in countries. So they just had the North America competition qualifier, and so they do that for one of the years, and then the following year they have the World Championships, and then the next year, so it's an every other year kind of situation, which I think is amazing. And a lot of the personal relationships that I have built through Hip Hop International, those individuals are no longer with Hip Hop International, and they are with this circuit, the World Dance Crew Championships, which is another reason for me to really want to go. So to answer that question, the answer is I do have it on my radar that I do want to go. Whether or not I'm able to go is a different question, and in what capacity is another big thing too. So there's that little side note to answer that question. And then any other dance competitions I want to go to, D-League for sure. I personally want to go because I do know a couple of people that do participate in D-League, and I think it would be cool to go in and actually cast a vote and be a part of the audience. I think that's super fun in Japan. But other competitions, I think I want to go to lineup or one of those types of competitions. Lineup 9 just happened, right? I want to be a part of a different country's battle scene because I'm used to the US's, because I work Waves Within, which is the world championship for waving, but it's based in LA, so I haven't done too much of going to ciphers or battles or competitions outside of the US. There's also another competition called Haru competition, which is in Korea. And I know the organizer, SHINEE. She is an incredible mover. She's one of the people affiliated with Team Magnolia, if you know who they are. And she has her competition that happens. I think they're happening pretty soon. And I think she said there's another one happening in October. And so that would be another competition I would want to go and be there to help organize, facilitate, or just to go watch, just out of support for SHINEE, because she is one of the most respectable individuals I've ever met. And I also love her choreography too, which is really cool. Dynamite, I think it's so fun that you stayed for as long as you have been. This will probably be played back too, because I think it's just kind of turning into a Q&A, which I'm totally fine with. And oh my goodness. Oh, love watching your videos. You're so insightful and you even inspired me. Oh my God. Oh, that means a lot to hear. I'm so glad that I was able to be, yes, Feel the Funk is awesome. But Dynamite, or is it Diamondite? Diamondite? I'm so sorry for your name, but that really means a lot to hear. I love being able to be helpful for people, and especially if I can be a facilitator to help people find confidence to be able to go and try things just to try them. That really means the world to me, because I understand the amount of courage it takes to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. And so I am very humbled by the fact that that I was an influencer or a stepping stone into your growth as a dancer. So thank you for being a part in this way. And I'm really excited to see where you go with dance too. I want to hear all about it. Comment along for me. Please, please, please. So, but yeah, Katie, Feel the Funk is, I would like to go. I just want to go to a mall, you know, I would love to that's just what I do, is just go and travel. But that also means that I wouldn't be able to do what I do in my day to day as much. You know what I mean? Like the more I go travel, the less I'm home, the less I can be at the studios. So I'm trying to like find a middle ground with that, but also with YouTube, because when I travel, I have to figure out a portable way to do analysis, but I don't mind figuring that out. It's just an interesting logistic shift in my life. And maybe that'll happen more often in the future. I'm definitely hopeful for it, you know? So, but, okay, let me see. Next question was, oops. Oh, I was using the wrong mouse. Do I pick a specific person to follow when I learn choreography, like K-pop choreos, or whoever's center at the time? If it's a specific person, who do I tend to follow and why? Ooh. Oh, thanks, Dad. My dad's here too. He's Chester, and then my mom's here. That's Laura. So if y'all, they're the reason why I'm alive. So if you like me, it's because of them. So you can tell them thank you. So to answer this question, so the question is, do I pick a specific person to follow when I learn the choreography? Most of the time, I switch people depending on what the choreo is. So, for example, like Dreamcatcher, I just learned Justice. I actually watch Yuhyun most of the time, even though she wasn't really in the center for most of it, because I liked her movement quality and how she was doing it. So, just like when I do analysis of choreo, that's why I prefer to do that before I do a K-pop dance cover, so I can really analyze it and I can see how clean it is, really know what is the intention of the context of the choreo with the style being represented. So that helps me as a dancer and educator know who to really follow, because they're doing the most accurate representation of the authenticity of the style. Does that make sense? It's a bit long-winded, but that's kind of what goes on in my brain, because I am a low-key perfectionist too. So when I encounter a group that isn't really clean, it does get harder for me because I don't know who to watch. So I try to figure that out. But also, if a group is really, really clean, I feel intimidated that I have to match all of them, even though like XG, they got like 5 years dancing together on me, only dancing with them for 45 minutes. So it's a really hard balance for me when it comes to a type of group. So it just depends on who does the move closest to how I think the move matches the music. So it's a musicality choice. So I'm not really specific on anybody, even though people have like main dancers. Sometimes I follow whoever's in the middle or whoever is wearing the same outfit that I found in my closet. Sometimes it's that. It just depends on the video. So if you guys are curious, I don't mind putting in my description, especially on Patreon. I put how much time it took me to realistically learn the choreo, but also I can put who I followed when, because I know I did that for Dreamcatcher and I know some of you guys enjoyed that. So y'all let me know if that's something you want me to continue doing, and I can do that. So because I can remember for the most part. But yeah, so that was a Patreon question and a comment under a video, I think was that one. Somebody on YouTube asked me who my favorite K-pop dancer was. And I think I kind of already answered that just earlier on when it comes to just who are my favorites or preferences in the regular K-pop groups. So I think I answered that. Another YouTube question was, I know you're a dance choreographer, but what are your main dance styles and which styles do you learn? And they said they were new-ish to my channel. And I was like, so welcome, YouTube comment. Thank you for this. What are the main dance styles? So I am in the waving community. So you're going to always see waving or a legato of some kind, something in my own choreography, as well as when I tackle K-pop covers. It never goes away. I can't get rid of it. So it's something that I always have as a part of my flavor as a dancer is waving. So that's a big thing. I've studied and trained in most street dance that you see in the commercial sense of things. So that would be, I've trained in breaking, I've trained in house, whacking, Vogue more historically and through like the academic side, not as much in the physical culture. Light feet I've trained in, crump I've trained in, Bollywood I've trained in that, and ballet, jazz, contemporary, acro, a little bit of tap. So I've had a lot of training and a lot of different styles, but my preferences that I'm naturally drawn to are house, am drawn to boogaloo styles, so popping, heavy affiliated styles, and waving. Those are like my go-tos that I really, really love to do. Yeah. So let me see. Sarah, it was you. You were the one who asked me that question. Yes. Yes. And so I love the fact that you asked that question way back. And I forgot what video it was for, but I was like, you're probably not the only one who has asked, like, who are curious about that. So thank you for your question way back in the day. I used it for this because I think it was super fun. Yeah, so I think I answered that question of what are my go-to styles and which ones that I know and learn. I've learned a lot, and it did help me be able to be better at empathizing when I'm adjudicating as well. Like having a physical exposure lens to things allows me to be able to truly know, okay, here's fundamentally how things progress from a basic movement to an advanced movement as well. So it does allow you more, freedom in that sense. And then I think I only have one more question on the spreadsheet. And then if you guys want to add in the comments, this is almost an hour long, so we may finish up here soon. I mean, but if you have more questions, I will totally answer them. But this question is, can you be fluid without groove? And this was a YouTube question, and I'm so glad they asked this because the answer is yes, you can be fluid without groove because and I got this verified by a fellow colleague of mine because I didn't want to be the only person that would speak on this. But fluidity is a texture. It is not a groove. Does that make sense? So having fluidity is, like with waving, it's the illusion of water, but there's so many different textures you can do with waving to justify it on multiple genres of music, right? And you can do that with a lot of choreography and movements, whether that's in the hip hop sense of things, light feet sense of things, breaking, house, vogue, whacking, crump, isos, tutting, what have you. You can do it with most styles. Fluidity is a texture. Groove is originates mostly from the torso, the rock and the bounce. So it's your flavor, it's your essence, and it pertains mostly to hip hop. Right. I mean, you have groove in multiple styles, but a lot of the time you're going to hear groove talk the most in breaking and hip hop. So that's my answer to that question. What I would honestly say is, what is it? I would personally say be curious about it. So look up what is groove and always learn from multiple sources because they all have different backgrounds on what they learned groove was, but there's this underlying kind of definition you're going to find with it. And then also fluidity. I would tailor fluidity more towards a texture choice or dynamic choice. So how you execute something, not quite the the foundation of how to do a move or how to do the style. Like groove is, you can't remove groove from hip hop, but you can remove fluidity from it. Does that make sense? I think that it's a different kind of pillar. Let me see. Okay, you said, I have a request. There's this performance by a mega crew and their style looks very similar to the royal family, but as a non-dancer, I can't really tell. The video name on YouTube is First Place Hip Hop Kings from Festival 2023. I don't think I've ever heard of Festival before. I'm gonna look it up right here. I won't be able to react to it here. And if it's anything affiliated with like Hip Hop International or World of Dance, right now I'm not comfortable looking at those, but maybe in the beginning of 2025 I will be able to, but I'm going to make a video announcement about it in December. It does pertain to my certification with HHI, but we'll cover that later. But if it's pertaining to either of those, I may not be able to do an analysis, but I can kind of glean over it. Was it Festival 2023? You said First Place was called Hip Hop Kings. I will say a lot of crews like to use the formula of royal family because what they do is they're the reason why the mega crew kind of structure exists. Is because if you think about it, when mega crew got introduced in HHI in 2011 is when I think it started. Royal family cleaned house till about 2014. right? So they were the reigning champs. And then from there, you had other groups that started to take over in their own genre, XYZ. But that Afro poly swag is what they would call it, right? That kind of vibe is what really like projected and promoted mega crews from the HHI scene. It was really cool. It's still very cool. Paris is always working. Like anything you see from Savage Fenty, movement quality wise, a lot of stuff coming out from Nike is affiliated with Paris. I mean, Kirsten, she's popping off all over K-pop right now for that reason too. You know what I mean? Like I think it's super, super cool. But let me just glean over it. You said first place Hip Hop Kings Festival teams. Is it teams over 18? Is that what you were requesting, Mustaf? I'm just looking in general right now because apparently my mic's not working for. Are they wearing black? Is that your question? Let me see. What is this? Oh, okay. So, oh, sorry, I have my laptop and you guys just heard my playback. So to answer this question, the types of tracks they're using remind me of 2013 Royal Family. That was my personal favorite. I also think what they're wearing is all black, and Royal Family used an accent of yellow in their set. Now, Royal Family doesn't own the songs, they don't own those styles, but the format in which they're presented in a mega crew format, like the mega crew side, it's really hard to separate. I will say this, I don't know what the criteria is for Hip Hop Kings. I know with HHI, I'm very familiar with it. If they performed this at HHI, they wouldn't score very high on creativity because it is something that's oversaturated or overexposed. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question. There are a lot of similarities just from the music alone and just from some of the movement quality that I'm seeing here as well. But it would really honestly have to come down to if they're using a track that Royal has specifically used and their format of their dancers, their formation, staging, spacing, timing, the ins and the outs of the choices to go in and out of the wings, all of those things would be a lot of things to factor in on whether or not they are the exact same. But just based on what I've looked at, I don't know if with this competition they have to justify multiple styles, because Royal Family and HHI you have to in order to get full point value for style score, which is at least 3. So they always had like this Afro pocket. They would have like a commercial or more like intermingled hybrid pocket. They would do whacking or Vogue. They would intermingle that, and then they would do crump too. They also in one year they added house to it as well. So it just depends on the year with them. So that would be how I would answer that question. You're not crazy. Just from what I noticed in 5 seconds of watching, they do have some familiarity on it. Now, does it feel the same? I would have to watch it. So far on what I have it paused on, just on my neck of the woods over here, it does look like their range is close, but they would probably get off on their hands, honestly. So there's a lot of extra questions I would ask before I could give you a proper answer, if that helps. Okay, Eddie, I have not answered your this question, so I'm glad that you're asking. How do you motivate yourself to dance more, especially if you're a beginner starting out? Anew, any tips for beginner dancers? Oh my gosh, I love answering this question, Eddie. Thank you for asking. Okay, for starters, some days you're not motivated. I'm just gonna be honest. You're not. Some days it's just not happening. Some days you're like, I really don't want to do this. And it really sucks when you experience that. I will say it depends on what you're wanting to do. So for me, whenever I would train beginners, I think what really helps is accountability. So having some form of accountability in your life that people are willing to check in, or you have something set up that allows you the ability of, you have this weird subtle sense of obligation. That's not your main priority, but it's kind of always existing there. Whether it's a group of fellow beginner dancers that you're all learning together, or you have a teacher and you work one-on-one, or you're taking a class and it's a program class where you go multiple times in a month. Those types of classes really help. I have noticed in person is way more accountable and motivating than online. But ever since the pandemic, I've gotten very familiar with online tutorials. I have learned about 5 to 7 times more choreography online than I have in person. But that's because of all the online platforms that I've been a part of and being the type of user I was on them. I also think thinking about your why as a dancer too. This can be for anybody, not just beginners, but that is something that's really, really hard to navigate the more experienced you become. And being a beginner is honestly one of the most beautiful places for 2 reasons. Firstly, you're doing it because you want to. And not because somebody's forcing you to, especially the older you get and you're choosing to make a choice. Being an absolute beginner, it's an active choice. You want to do it because you want to do it. And that's incredible. That's already motivation in and of itself. Second thing is you're more honest with where you are as a mover. A lot of times when people hit that intermediate type of staging of movement, it gets a little bit trickier to know, am I ready to try something hard? Do I need to keep working on my fundamentals? You're in that in-between stage. And also something that happens is your taste in dance skyrockets, even if your movement quality isn't quite there yet. I experienced that so many times, and I still do, in different styles, where I have such a strong taste, especially as a choreographer, strong taste in choreography. You guys see how much choreography I look at all the time, right? So I have this great taste, but sometimes either it's the type of dancers I work with, they're not professionals, and what they need may not be this quality or complexity in style, right? They need something a little different. And it's learning how to be okay with the gap, I think, is a really big thing that learning how to do as a beginner is going to set yourself up for more success and grace, and it'll set yourself up for more. You can subconsciously motivate yourself by understanding the beauty of the journey and not the end product, because we live in a society where we're so obsessed with the end product. Like, a lot of people like the me now, they may not like the me from a couple years ago, because I was still a work in progress and many things that I'm much more refined in now, right? Like, my articulation of analysis is way more refined now because of the professional training I've received, but also my lived life experience. And I'm very thankful I started YouTube when I did, but I was still very much a beginner on the YouTube side of learning how to have a global perspective of things and not a narrow-minded sense of things. So that would be another thing I would recommend for starting your dance journey, is always ask questions, be curious, and have childlike wonder in the process. It's all about the process, not the end product. What you get out of your class is, what did you learn in the class? Because you can always learn something. Just like a lot of you guys learn stuff from me, I learned so much from you as well through your commentary and through questions like this. You're actually helping me vocally process through my own feelings about dance. So I'm appreciative, Eddie, that you asked the question. But to kind of summarize my long-winded, answer, as I do a lot of times, is for beginner dancers, have grace with yourself, maintain honesty with yourself, have curiosity, and never be afraid to ask questions, because you'd be surprised at how many people wish they asked those questions at the stage that you're in. Enjoy the journey over the end product. Give yourself grace, and actually invest in relationships with others who want to grow with you. That doesn't have to be somebody who's considered an equal. It can be a mentor, a teacher, somebody who can be a support, but also they could be a little bit better in the style or the genre that you're wanting to grow in. They could be a little bit better. They could be a perfect mentor for you. I know for me, a lot of waving mentors that I have a huge investment in the game, but they're so gracious to me, and I feel safe and I feel motivated to want to keep trying because I've been allowed to fail. Does that make sense? I think that's a really big thing, that the more elite or the high level you become in anything, I feel like all of us can agree with this, the harder it is for us to accept when we fail. It's not an if, it's a when. So I think maintaining grace in yourself when you fail, because whenever you're a beginner, you tend to be more, what's the word? Tend to fail more often. Does that make sense? But you actually fail about as much as everybody else, but it just looks a little different and a little bit more obvious. Does that make sense? So have some grace for yourself in the process, and get in with a group of people that are doing the same thing as you, and that really does go a long way. I will say that from firsthand experience. I still feel that way. I think that's how I can best answer your question, Eddie. I hope I was helpful, and I hope, if anything, it makes you more curious about kind of navigating that for yourself. But it will look different for everybody. But that's how I would paragraph wise answer your question. So, but yeah, guys, I think we did it. This is our official. I think we'll kind of just cut it off right here at the end. We've been doing this for like an hour. That's actually really cool. I wasn't expecting to be hanging out this long, which is really fun for me. I do have analysis. If you're on Patreon, I got more analysis I'm going to be looking at tonight, so you'll be seeing that pop up. If you want in on the action, if you want to see what I look at in real time, I've already looked at Chick Chick Boom by Stray Kids. Anything that's been uploaded within the past 24 hours, I've been looking at very quickly, with the boys, things like that. If you're somebody that wants to get in on that, Patreon's perfect for that. And the end screen on all of my videos have the Patreon link as well as in my description if that interests you at all. And if you want online dance classes, so Eddie, to answer your question, if you want like an online resource, if you go in my bio, is Building Block Dance, which is Keone and Mari's studio, like online studio. Highly recommend doing that because they have beginner classes, and I am on Building Block as well, so I can help you there in that sense too. So that'll be something. If you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, that's a perfect resource for online if you can't find an in-person community near you. But yeah, if anything, just you can keep hanging out with me too, and I would love to be able to be helpful whenever these types of questions get asked as well. But I know me being able to vocalize it is a way easier than me trying to type it out. Typing can be really hard for me to articulate my tone when I come across, because I know tone really influences how things are said too. So I know all that going in, but yeah, I think this is pretty much it. It means the absolute world that I have people to talk to. It's nice that I'm not alone here talking to myself. So thank you guys for commenting, and means a lot. And if you guys have any more questions, if you're on Patreon, DM me. I got you. And if you're just hanging out on YouTube, there will probably be another live stream that exists again. I have some fun things depending on subscriber counts that'll be coming down. Like if I hit 10,000 subscribers, then I'll be doing a 10 marathon. So 10 from Wavy or from NCT. We'll be doing that. So I think that's really exciting. Oh, it'll be great. But yeah, you guys know me. I know you. I am Jess. This was so fun. I will probably be talking to most of you very, very soon. And I will catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.